Small World, the World of Informative Flashcards. Flashcards and Fundamentals of Economics, Part 1. Adam Smith, Definition of Economics. Adam Smith, 1723–1790, in Han Inquiry into Nature and Causes of Wealth of Nations is book, 1776, defined economics as the science of wealth. He explained how a nation's wealth is created. He considered that the individual in the society wants to promote only his own gain, and in this, he is led by an invisible hand to promote the interests of the society, though he has no real intention to promote the society's interests. Alfred Marshall Definition of Economics. Alfred Marshall, 1842–1924, wrote a book, Principles of Economics, 1890, in which he defined political economy or economics as a study of mankind in the ordinary business of life. It examines that part of individual and social action which is most closely connected with the attainment and with the use of the material requisites of well-being. The important features of Marshall's definition are as follows. A. According to Marshall, economics is a study of mankind in the ordinary business of life. Example: economic aspect of human life. Lionel Robbins' definition of economics. Welfare definition. Lionel Robbins published a book, an essay on the nature and significance of economic science in 1932. According to him, economics is a science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. The major features of Robbins' definition are as follows. A. Ends refer to human wants. Human beings have unlimited number of wants. B. Resources or means, on the other hand, are limited or scarce in supply. Scope of economics, field of study of economics. In discussing the scope of economics, we have to indicate whether it is a science or an art, and a positive science or a normative science. It also covers the subject matter of economics, and it is also referred to as major issues and problems in economics or fundamental questions in economics. The fundamental questions in economics are: 1. What to produce. 2. How to produce. 3. Whom to produce. What to produce. It is related to allocation of resources. What goods and services should be produced in the society? In what quantity? Example: whether to produce consumer goods or capital goods, by using the scarce resources, which have alternate uses. Example: sacrificing to present consumption or pleasures for future, by investing in capital goods, or should we spend more money on space research or atomic research or food production? How to produce? It refers to how society will organize its scarce resources for maximum efficiency. It refers to the technology to be used in production. Example: agricultural production, whether by extensive cultivation or intensive cultivation, or by capital-intensive technologies or labor-intensive technologies. for whom to produce? This question relates to the distribution of goods and services produced in an economy. Here the concern is not only growth of national income, but also individual standard of living. Economics is a science. Science is a systematized body of knowledge that traces the relationship between cause and effect. Another attribute of science is that its phenomena should be amenable to measurement. Applying these characteristics, we find that economics is a branch of knowledge where the various facts relevant to it have been systematically collected, classified, and analyzed. Economics investigates the possibility of deducing generalizations as regards the economic motives of human beings. The motives of individuals and business firms can be very easily measured in terms of money. Thus, economics is a science. Economics, a social science. A social science. In order to understand the social aspect of economics, we should bear in mind that laborers are working on materials drawn from all over the world and producing commodities to be sold all over the world in order to exchange goods from all parts of the world to satisfy their wants. There is, thus, a close interdependence of millions of people living in distant lands unknown to one another. In this way, the process of satisfying wants is not only an individual process, but also a social process. In economics, one has, thus, to study social behavior. Example, behavior of men in groups. Economics is also an art. An art is a system of rules for the attainment of a given end. A science teaches us to know, an art teaches us to do. Applying this definition, we find that economics offers us practical guidance in the solution of economic problems. Science and art are complementary to each other, and economics is both a science and an art. Economics, a positive science. Positive science, it only describes what it is, and normative science prescribes what it ought to be. Positive science does not indicate what is good or what is bad to the society. It will simply provide results of economic analysis of a problem. Economics, a normative science. Normative science. It makes distinction between good and bad. It prescribes what should be done to promote human welfare. A positive statement is based on facts. A normative statement involves ethical values. For example, 12% of the labor force in Philippines was unemployed last year is a positive statement, which could be verified by scientific measurement. What is economics problem? An economic problem generally means the problem of making choices that occurs because of the scarcity of resources. It arises because people have unlimited desires, but the means to satisfy that desire is limited. Therefore, satisfying all human needs is difficult with limited means. What is scarcity? Scarcity is one of the key concepts of economics. It means that the demand for a good or service is greater than the availability of the good or service. Therefore, scarcity can limit the choices available to the consumers who ultimately make up the economy. What does scarcity force us to do? Scarcity forces all of us to make choices by making us decide which options are most important to us. The principle of scarcity states that there are limited goods and services for unlimited wants. Thus, people need to make choices in order to satisfy the wants that are most important to them. What are economic resources? Economic resources are things that are inputs to production of goods and services. What are the four types of resources in economics? Factors of production are resources that are the building blocks of the economy. They are what people use to produce goods and services. Economists divide the factors of production into four categories. A. Land. B. Labor. C. Capital, and D. Entrepreneurship. For economic resources, or factors of production, the four economic resources are: 1. Land. 2. Labor. 3. Capital. 4. Entrepreneurship. What is a land resource? Land resource, it is any natural resource found in nature that can be used to produce goods and services. The land category includes things like trees, plants, livestock, wind, sun, water, and minerals. What is labor? Labor refers to any human contribution, either physical or intellectual. Labor takes a natural resource from its original condition and transforms it into a capital good. Usually, when you think of labor, you think of physical labor like working in a factory, driving a truck to make deliveries, constructing a building, or stacking goods in a warehouse. These are all activities that contribute to the production of goods or services. However, labor has come to rely more on the intellectual contributions rather than physical labor. What is capital? Capital is that it is not money. Money is not a resource. By economic definition, resources must be productive, and money does not do that. Money is a means to move the economy, but by itself, it doesn't produce anything. Money is used to acquire the productive resources that are used to produce goods and services. As an example, refineries purchase oil, a natural resource, to make gasoline, a capital good. Developers use funds to acquire property, a natural resource, to construct an office building, a capital good. What is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is the creativity required to bring all of a company's resources together to produce a good or service that is sold in the marketplace. In a sense, entrepreneurship is a special form of labor. Entrepreneurs are willing to risk time and money to start a business with the intention of earning a profit. They organize the other factors of production to create a business. These businesses produce the goods and services that consumers want to buy. What is financial capital? Financial capital most commonly refers to assets needed by a company to provide goods or services, as measured in terms of money value. Economic capital is the estimated amount of money needed to cover possible losses from unexpected risk. A firm's economic capital number can also be seen as a measurement of solvency. What is economics problem? An economic problem generally means the problem of making choices that occurs because of the scarcity of resources. It arises because people have unlimited desires, but the means to satisfy that desire is limited. Therefore, satisfying all human needs is difficult with limited means. What is macroeconomics? Macroeconomics is the branch of economics that studies the behavior and performance of an economy as a whole. It focuses on the aggregate changes in the economy such as unemployment, growth rate, gross domestic product, and inflation. What is microeconomics? Microeconomics is the study of individuals, households, and firms' behavior in decision-making and allocation of resources. It generally applies to markets of goods and services and deals with individual and economic issues. What is scientific method in economics? The scientific method of economic analysis is the application of logic and evidence to understanding how economies function. This takes place through methods such as statistical analysis of different economic systems, and charting data on prices and quantities of goods exchanged within an economy. What is ceteris paribus? Ceteris paribus is a Latin phrase that generally means all other things being equal. In economics, it acts as a shorthand indication of the effect one economic variable has on another, provided all other variables remain the same. Difference between association and causation in economics. Causation requires that there is an association between two variables, but association does not necessarily imply causation. Association between two factors can occur both with and without a causal relationship. Example: if you work for extra hours a day, your income is likely to increase. This means one event, extra hours, is causing an effect on another event, income. This is a causal or cause-effect relationship.